Hello everyone. In this video we are going to partially assemble the gauge cluster for the yellow 74. As you can see, I have everything apart and here on the table and ready to go. So follow along. First thing we need to do is turn the cluster over on its back side, or actually its front side. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Cluster is on its front side, and the first thing we would like to do is install these little insulators, and I call them noise insulators because it insulates the plastic lens from the actual back inside of the housing. And here you'll see you just put them in the little slots, and there's 6 of them all together. I was missing one, so what I did was use a little piece of soft styrofoam, and that's going to go right in there. So as you can see, they're all in there, and that really protects the lens from maybe banging against the inside of the cluster housing. Next we have the lens. I kind of polished it up as best as I could to get all of the scratches out as much as I could, so it came out pretty decent. And as you can see, this particular hole right here, that is for the clock stem. So you want to make sure that you put it in correctly so that your clock will, the stem will go through. Alright, there's also little slots there at the top and on the other side to where the housing fits in. So now it's in there and secure. Okay, so the next step is you have your door jar and headlamps light, and what you want to do is you want to put it so it goes in the passenger side, and you'll notice there's a little divider here, so that just slides right in. This is your fasten seatbelt, and that goes on the driver's side and just slides right in there. Okay, we also have the provisions for the lights and the little spacers, I'll call them. But first what we need to do is get the gauge housing, or the front gauge housing, and install that. This was also redone, came out decent. I'm going to turn that over, and you're going to pick that up, and we're going to drop that right in to that area there. Okay, so you can see it fits pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the gauges, but first what we want to do is we want to install the spacers. And by the way, there's a little slot right there that goes into that slot over there, so we're going to put that in, and we're going to get this spacer here for the seatbelt and do the same thing. Okay, now you can see this insulator here, alright, and this one should have an insulator too, which it does, and it's over here. This is the new one, as the old one just ripped a little bit more, was really shot and nothing to it. As you can see, this is the original insulator for this side. This is the replacement, but this is in good shape and much thicker, so I decided to keep that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the gauges itself, okay, and we're going to place it over, and let me see here, get it situated. There we go. Place it over the housing, and there, just clicked into place. and so far we're good. Again, going to finish this once I get the clock installed, so stay tuned. Also wanted to mention that this is the new voltmeter gauge in this location that I installed in place of the amp meter. Okay, as per the instructions, it recommends that you isolate this particular stud so it doesn't ground out. So a tip from fellow Corvette enthusiast and owner Bob Stevenson recommended the heat shrink tube, which I wasn't thinking about, as I was going to use electrical tape, so it worked out really well. Then, as far as wiring goes, Richard 454 from over on CF, he has a paper which I'll show up eventually, that what you do is you wire from, if I remember correctly, the pink wire, live wire here, and then you just come down to the positive wire on a voltmeter gauge. You do not plug in your amp meter connection to this. So as you can see, I left the prongs out of the equation. So we'll see how that all works out once we get it installed.